Welcome back. It is Sunday, April 14th, 2024. I just got home yesterday from a trip to Bolivia, the wonderful country of Bolivia, and thought that do I have audio? I need to make sure I have audio. Audio. Okay, audio. I have audio. I don't know why. I thought I'd jump on here. There were some things I wanted to do programming wise on Windows that I thought, okay, maybe I could do those on the stream, but I realized how much I absolutely hate Windows. In fairness, it might be this computer specifically. Maybe it is just this computer specifically, but in general, I cannot stand this operating system. It is so slow. It's just so slow. It's just so slow. And I don't know, and I know people are going to be like, well, you need to get a new computer. No, I don't. It's this computer. This computer is just slow. This computer, it's just massively slow. So I think what I'm trying to do, I have this game, this open source game called GeoSketch. And a friend and I decided that we were going to start working on it together. Because we think it could be something fun. And maybe even, who knows, be popular. Maybe something that could be a little popular. So we decided to start working on it together. Now, he is a Windows guy. He is on Windows. So I told him, actually, I didn't tell him, but I thought, okay, what I need to do is I need to pull this code down onto Windows. And I need to make sure that I can build this code, right? I need to make sure that I can at least build it. Because in order for him to be able to build it, I need to make sure I can build it, and then I can tell him what he needs to do in order to build it. But I'm getting all these weird errors. I don't even know what I'm getting. Literally, I've been programming for so long now, probably longer than a lot of you have been alive. And I don't know what this is. I don't CMake error, and I don't know how entertaining this is going to be either. This is just going to be complete entertainment. Just watching me work, essentially. TGU backend was set to an unknown backend. So I guess so what we're going to do. So this is a C++ application that's using SFML, or is it SMFL? As simple something. Is it FFS SMFL? No. SFML. Yeah. SFM. Simple and Fast Multimedia Library is what it stands for. And this is just, and I've written games in this before. And it's exactly what it is. It's a very simple and it's a very fast multimedia library that allows you to draw graphics on the screen, play sounds. It even supports things like joystick controllers, but I'm not going to bother with that. But it is pretty cool. And then I believe they also do have bindings to Android. I think you can build Android games with it. I'm not 100% sure about that, or I don't know how well that's supported. But I believe you can target Android and you can target even iPhones. But right now, I'm just trying to target Windows, and it's not happening. So, all right, where do we start? With a problem like this, you got to start at the beginning, right? So, I think what I'll do is I'm going to start the GUI, the CMake GUI, which, here it is, it's over here. Okay. So I wanted to look at this. What was this one? It told me that TGUI backend. Now, I'm not sure if that's like, if you got to tell it which graphic library to use or what. I don't see if I turn on advanced settings, it's there. TGUI backend. Ah, here it is. It is set to custom. Well, what are the options? Well, I don't want to turn that off. What are the options for it literally says custom. So now what we have to do, I don't know what to do, but let's go inspecting the the CMake source code for TGUI to see what it wants and maybe just feed it something. I don't know. I don't think I had to set the kind of backend for SFML, did I? I really need my new glasses. SFML. Is it simple and fast? SFML. No, I didn't. So it's nothing like that. So if I come over here and I look, let me dismiss. Visual Studio Code used to be like the best editor. And now it has become nearly as bloated as Visual Studio itself. It has become nearly as bloated as the thing that it tried to replace. And now it is just as bad. What am I trying to do? I want to close all of these. Close all. Okay. Let's look for the CMake. And then we want the... I guess we want... Oh, let's see. CMake. Oh my god. I cannot type on the... Another thing. I can't type on this keyboard. CMake lists .text. All right. So we want to look at the one for TGUI. And actually, no, a better way to do this would have just been to copy this. I'm so used to Mac where I can just... So I've been using this terminal program on Mac called Warp. And I don't know, actually, I wonder if they have Windows support yet. Warp. I don't know if they have download from Mac, Linux terminal. I don't think they have Windows support. But it is great because the thing about it is that all of these little things in here, like, you're probably used to a normal text editor where you can copy and then you can put the cursor anywhere you want and then you can edit as you need, right? But of course, you know, if you've used a terminal program at all, you know it doesn't work like that. Except in Warp, it does. And that is the best feature. Now, it has all this AI bullshit, which like I've used a little bit, but I'm not super familiar with it. But the best part of it is that you can literally take your mouse, click anywhere, and edit it, and then hit enter and run that command. That is the best feature of Warp. There's nothing like it on Mac. I mean, on Windows, obviously. So I have to go to the old school where I select and hit enter, and then let's just look. So let's just search. Oh, no, not with a. Let's search for this variable. So what do we got here? So let's see. We're probably looking for a CMake cache. I need to ignore some folder. What folder am I in? I am in build. I kind of want to get build to work. Okay, but wait. No. Where is the... Okay, here it is. So I just want to look for where this is defined. And then I want to exclude... I want to exclude my build folders because that's just going to give me a bunch of noise. And then apparently I've got to exclude 2 build folders. Build new. Okay, here we go. Wait. It's still pulling up build. Did I type that right? I literally need new glasses. Okay, wow, BK. I'm going to... No, my glasses are downstairs. Oh, okay. Build. And I spelled build with 2 L's over here. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait. Well, I really can't type. It's like watching a boomer try to type on a computer. Okay. So, or change, let's see. Does this tell me to not use, but maybe I wanted to use SFML. The backend options shouldn't be changeable by the user because he selected one with TGUI. Okay, boot TGUI backend. Okay, TGUI backend. The backend. That's all. These are all the references it had. Let's get rid of the .text and search everything. So these are just all the if-def. Oh, okay. So wait a minute. I'm gonna have to look in the source file. If-def define. I'm not sure what's happening here. I mean, I understand the C++ part of it, but I don't understand what this option... Normally with option... Okay, so this looks like just a define that you turn on or off. Actually, let's look at the complete word. It's a property. Oh. It is a proper... Oh, here we go. SFML and SDL. So, now I know what I need to do is I need to come back over here... I don't want to build. I just want to configure. So we come over here, and now I need to define tGUI backend equals SFML, right? tGUI backend equals SFML. Let's see if that does it. Let's see how that goes. Oh, and that worked. Captain Fandom Nerd says Nello. Hello, Captain Fandom Nerd. Good to see you as always, my friend. One of my loyal listeners. You know, unlike my unloyal friend Joe, who is usually here but is never here. Today we're programming, Joe. Today instead of Saturday morning video games, or wait, Sunday morning. Instead of Sunday morning video games, I thought I would do some Sunday morning programming. Once again, this is an open source game that I've been writing, and a friend and I decided to work on it together. And I am just trying to make sure it will build on Windows for him. So we've done this. So CMake, in case you aren't familiar, CMake is it's a tool for C++ developers. And basically what it does is it allows you to generically define how to build your program. It's not the C++ portion of it, but it is related. Think of it as like, think of the build structure, or think of that as like blueprints, right? The blueprints tell you how to build something, and then you actually build it, right? So the C++ portion of it is kind of like, if you look at this in terms as like an architect and a building, the C++ and all the C++ files, those are more like the actual materials, the nails, the hammers, the woods, the concrete, and all the parts that you're putting together to build the building. Whereas the build files are the blueprints that tell you how to build it. Okay, it gets worse though. Now, think of those. Remember, the blueprints are the build files of a program are the blueprints. The problem is with C++, and you know, it's a little different with new languages now, but C++ is a very old language. When C++ was written, the way that you wrote your build files, or that you think of it like this, that on Mac you wrote your blueprints one way, on Windows you wrote your blueprints another way, on Linux you wrote them another way, so on and so on. Each operating system had its own way of how you wrote blueprints, even though the materials were mostly the same, right? Because it's all C++ files. And so think of it like I got it. Think of it like each operating system is a country. A country. And so, you know, you have your blueprints written in Chinese for building it in China. You have your blueprints written in India for building it, you know, in Hindu or whatever, with all the instructions in Hindu, and then in America. So you have 3 different sets of blueprints. They're all building the same thing, but maybe the instructions are all completely different. So what CMake is kind of like English, right? The universal language that everybody speaks because you're born with it. So that's what CMake is. CMake is just like, it's just a universal way of defining your build tools, of how to build your program, essentially. Anyway, so that's a quick primer on CMake there. And so we have gotten it to configure. So CMake has actually 3 steps. It has configure and generate, which we've done both here in one command, and it looks like it works. You can see down here where it says configure, done, generate. Now what we got to do, and you know, you would think, oh wow, great, well now it's all going to work, right? You know, it's all going to be good. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so what do I need to do? I want to tell it. Okay, let me look real. I think this is debug. Okay, what is it? Is it build? So I'm telling it to build. That's the first thing, right? Do -- build. Like, hey, you know, like compile this stuff. Then the build type. Now, when you build your programs, when you take your source code and you turn it into an actual program that you can run on your computer, there are different types of that end product. There are different types that you can build. You can build a test type. You can build what's called a debug type. And then CMake supports a few of them. And the one that I use often is rel with deb info, and I'll explain that in a minute. Is there anything else? I want to make sure this is a parallel build. Parallel. I forget how many cores are on this machine. I forget, or how many. I always get this confused. You got CPUs, and then CPUs have, well, how many? Yeah, how many cores, and then the cores have threads, or is it the cores have CPUs and the CPUs have threads? I always get it. I've been working on computers for a long time, and I still can never remember which is which. I mean, I know how they work. I just can never remember the actual names of them. We're going to try this. Wait, how many? I'm going to have to look this up over here. Window. Oh, wait, I could do it through Task Manager, I think. Let me see. If Task Manager. I want to look at Task Manager. Maybe I changed primary screens on my window on purpose so things will load off of the camera. Just in case, you never know. You never know what weird things are going to pop up. Okay, let's look at this. So this is, let's see. Okay, so I have 2 sockets, 24 cores with 48 logical processors. Okay, so this would mean then that, okay, yeah, so that each socket has 24 cores and I have 48 logical processors. Okay, cool. I don't think there's any hyper-threading or anything on there. So if I have 48, we'll go ahead with 32. We'll build with 32. What did I screw up? Dash build dash. Oh, maybe is it this? No. And here's another thing. I use CMake so often that it's literally a lot of it is just from muscle memory. So let's see, CMake. Let's try it again. Oh my gosh, not capital. CMake build. That okay. Wait. But I know if I want, is it CMake build type? Rel with deb info, and then now I can do parallel. What am I getting wrong? What unknown argument. Oh, maybe I do that during, okay, I probably should do that during the configuration step, but it probably has the build type in the cache, so maybe I don't need, I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, so when I did the configuration step, I guess I'd done the configuration step a long time ago, and it already, that build type, or I told it what build type to do, I guess you pass that in the configuration step. This is now the building step. The configuration step, going back to my blueprint analogy, you can think of the configuration step of CMake as the step of where you're writing or where you're generating the blueprints, right? Like maybe you have all the blueprints on like some computer program, like CAD, some CAD program, right? And so now that you've written them all out, and I need to print them, and that's what the configuration step is. It's actually producing the blueprints so that the engineers, or in this case the compiler, so that the engineers can actually go and actually take those blueprints and actually do work upon them, and actually build the crappy little program you're writing. All right, I'm just checking some stuff here off screen, just making sure we're all kosher. I still don't see Joe, that loser, my one friend. Let me see. Let's see. Streamer mode is enabled. Usernames have been truncated. Okay. I'm gonna ask Joe if he's around. Okay. So this is building still, and this is another thing that drives me nuts about Windows. It takes too long. At least on this machine. And this machine, it could be because maybe this machine. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, it's an old machine. Maybe you need a new computer. This is the computer on which I run OBS and I run City Skylines 2. And then everything else I'm running, like a browser and anything else I need. No problem. No problem. It's mostly disk operations where this computer just falls apart. And it's slower than my grandmother who passed away in January. God bless her heart. Like, it is so slow. And, but it is what it is. But I think it's disk operations because I think the disks are encrypted. So that's going to slow down. That's, if it's reading and writing, that's going to slow down your disks. Let's see how it goes. It's building now. So maybe I should talk a little bit about the game that my friend and I decided we would work on. Let me get a link. Let me find the link to it. Because right now it is all just it's all just on my GitHub. And let me load up this. If you're on Mac and you do anything in the terminal, if you're like some type of web developer, I would imagine even web developers use the terminal on occasion at least. I would think. I'm not a web developer, so I don't know. But if you are on Mac and you do anything in the terminal, I highly suggest you check out Warp. It is actually a very good program. And oops. Oh. What did I just? Okay. And I hope that it comes to Windows real soon, because it would be one of those things that would make my life a little easier on Windows. Now, I understand it's a little trickier on Windows, right? Because Windows, you've probably got to support PowerShell. You've got to support the old DOS stuff. You've got to support a Bash shell, something like that. But so I get it. I get why it's probably not on Windows. But let's see. Warp for Windows is coming soon. Sign up on the wait list. I'm actually going to go ahead and put my email on the wait list. I'm going to put my email on the wait list over on this screen. Okay. Success. You will receive email from Warp when the release is available. Actually, I think it's free. I don't think I've paid. Yeah, free for individuals, small teams, free up to 5 team members. Like I said, it does have an AI feature, but I've tried using the AI. I think I tried using it like when I first downloaded it because it was novel and things like that. But since then, anyway, Warp is pretty cool. Check it out. So the program, which does not have a very good, this is it. It's called GeoSketch, and so GeoSketch, it is a game. There's Joe, Coppola Joe. We're programming today. I'm talking about a game that I am writing with a friend of mine, and he is on Windows, so I'm trying to make sure that the game can build, also known as compile. I'm trying to make sure that the game will compile on Windows before he downloads the code and actually, tries to start building it himself. So I'm just trying to be a little proactive here and make sure that it's actually going to work when he tries to do it. I completely forgot what I was talking about. Oh, the game. So the game is called GeoSketch. The way I've envisioned the game working, and if we can get it compiling, I can show you a very, very basic prototype of it. But, shut up, Joe. Boring. You're boring. You ever listen to your own stream? You're boring. I'm not boring. You're boring. No. The idea of the game is that you would be shown a grid, right? You would let me put this over here. Let's see if I can find a grid. Sure I can. Let's see, a 200 by 200 grid. Right. You'd be shown something like this, right? You'd be shown... let's make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. You'd be shown something like this, but it would be in a game, right? It's not going to be on a piece of paper. And then you would be given the name of a country. Like Italy, right? And then you have to draw Italy. Now, the reason I'm showing the grid is because this is a big grid, but it would probably look something more like this. Well, let's see. But it would look like this with and then you would press the mouse button down, and then you would draw. I mean, you would literally draw on the screen a map of Italy. Let's see. I'm gonna look for something. Grid drawing. Online. Let's see if I can find a little... No, that's not going to help. Let's see. I'm trying to... I see red over here. Okay. So that's what the game does, right? That's what the game is. It shows you a grid, it gives you the name of a country, and then you just simply draw it, and then I'm thinking like it'll have like a timer. There'll be different levels of difficulty, right? Because the grid might be 10 by 10. Which hardly gives you the opportunity to draw any detail at all. So that'd be a very easy level. But then it might have like 1,000 by 1,000, which is which would require more detailed. And of course, the closer you get to the actual map, the better you do, and things like that. And that's basically the gist of the game. It's just drawing maps of countries. And I think, Joe, I talked to you about this before, and you showed me some website that was doing something similar, but not quite. Okay, so this is one of those errors on Windows that I just hate. And again, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm not even sure I quite understand mismatch. But this does have something to do with I am trying to link I might be getting this backwards, but I'm trying to link debug libraries. No, I'm trying to link against debug libraries on a non-debug build. So when I went back and I said, yeah, build rel with deb info. What that means, and I told you how when you build your program, there's different types of that program you can build. You can build a release version, which is what you would usually put for download, or what you would buy, from an app store. You would buy your release version. But then there's your debug version, which allows you to debug, right? And in debug versions, they're good for programmers because, like, let's say a user comes to me and is like, I keep getting this crash. So what you could do sometimes, depending on your company and how everything works, what you could do sometimes is you could give them a debug build, which would allow the programmer to get more information back about the program and what's happening, and hopefully fix the problem. Now, you might be saying, well, why don't you just give everybody debug builds? That way, if there's a problem, then the programmer has access or whatever. Well, debug builds have more information literally in the program itself, which means they're slower. They're by not by definition, but debug programs, they're just slower, right? Because they're generating more information for the programmer. Hence, you want to give the user the fastest thing possible. But since what we're doing is we're building it so that we're trying to compile the program so that we can program it more, so that we can enhance it. So I'm trying to compile a debug version, but actually what I'm trying to compile is a release version with debug information. I know that sounds silly. I won't get into the details of why that's usually how it okay. The reason that is because generally when you do that, at least this is in my personal experience, the reason that I will often use release with debug information is because if I use release, then all the libraries that my program is using can use their release versions of the libraries. Because if I say build a debug version, then I need debug versions of all those libraries I'm including, at least on Windows. So if I say release with debug information, I'm saying, okay, get all the release versions of all those libraries. Because libraries are the same thing. They're just programs. They also have release builds, debug builds, and whatever. So if I do release with debug, it's easier to find release versions of the libraries, but then I'm still generating debug information about my own program, right? Right. All right, so what this error is saying, though, it's saying that I'm building release versions. I'm building a release version of my program, but because... And I've only seen this on Windows, but because I have the debug info, it's trying to include debug versions of the library, something like that. I'm not sure, but I only ever hit this problem on Windows. So how do we want to address this? Okay, well, first of all, let's see, air license. First of all, my license for Visual Studio has gone stale. Let me fix that. I'm going to fix that off screen. Apparently, I cannot use I was using Visual Studio Code, but is it going to give me the error? Come on, give me the error. Give me the error. It's not going to give me the error. Give me the error. Okay, what if I load up Visual Studio? Okay, here we go. Okay. Let me just, I'm doing this off screen on another screen because in order to renew my license, there's like personal information I need to put in and everything. And obviously, I love you and I love my small audience, but I'm not going to share my, my intimate details with. And now I need my phone. Everything requires your phone. Like I was in Bolivia. I was in Bolivia for 2 weeks, and because I had some family stuff down there, I had to take care of or at least attend to. One of my closest, one of my dear uncles was sick, but it looks like I will say it does look like he is on the mend and is going to be okay. which is great. I mean, but it was a little concerning because he is he is an I don't want to say an elderly man, but he is not a young man. An error has occurred. We can no longer retrieve user information. What? Okay, let me try this again. So, so that's why I was in Bolivia, was to, help, see my uncle, and he is going to do better. And I forgot why I started talking about going to Bolivia. Done. I am trying to sign on. Approved. Okay. I'm doing this on my phone, and I'm watching the screen here. Okay, license. Okay, good. Okay, so the license is working. Joe, why was I talking about going to Bolivia in the first place? Or why did I get started on that? I don't remember. Okay, so what we're going to do now. So here, I was compiling through the command line, obviously, and I got all these errors. So what this tells me is that the build scripts I'm generating, there's a problem with those, and I want to confirm that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the same build files, because right now I do have a set of build files, but the build files are wrong. Again, going back to the architect and building analogy. Imagine you get your blueprints. You're in your CAD program, then you hit print, and then you look at the actual build files, and then you see that the rooftop swimming pool is in the parking lot, and that's wrong. So now you got to figure out why. You were telling us about needing a phone for everything now. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, so you do. But what happened? No, what I was thinking of is I was thinking, like, what would happen if I lost my phone in Bolivia? Like, that is a terrifying prospect. Like, what would happen? Like, I would have so much trouble. I wouldn't be able to get into my email, bank accounts. Like, I wouldn't be able to do any of it. I don't know what I could do. And, like, could I call AT&T and be like, yo, I'm in Bolivia and I lost my phone, and I mean, like, now I can't get into my bank accounts. I can't, do anything. It's a terror. So then I thought what I need to do now is the next time I travel is I want to take, and this is probably not a bad idea in general, is to get like a small, like a cheap phone, not a cheap phone, but a cheaper phone, and one that's unlocked, because my primary phone, it's not unlocked. So get like a cheap unlocked phone that I can take to a different country and just use SIM cards from that country. Because normally I just use my primary phone and just use my carrier who has international plans, and I just do that. But when I was in Bolivia, I'm like, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified that I was going to lose my phone. All right, so what we're doing here, excuse me, what we're doing here is we're basically building the program again to see that we are going to get the same error. And I think we're going to get the same error. The reason I'm doing it within Visual Studio itself is that now I can change the build. It's a little easier to change the build files within Visual Studio. So I can tinker with it and actually see if I can get it building. And then if I can get it building by tinkering with the build files, then I can go back to the CMake file and tinker that. Joe says, hey, good luck getting back into the USA. Actually, so I got home yesterday. I came back in, and this was my first. So the last trip when I came home, I had to do the the global entry, but I had to do global entry registration on entry or something like whatever it's called, because so when you sign up for global entry, you pay your money, you do it all online, but then you're actually not registered until you set an appointment, and there's only a few locations in the country you can set up an appointment. Or until you enter the country from another country, and then you go up to an agent and talk to them, and then after that you're registered. So when I got back from Finland, I did the registration process. So yesterday was the first time. Oh, I got a few things to talk about. Okay, so yesterday was the first time that I came into the country fully registered as a global entry user, and it was so simple. So first of all, I get off the plane, and a plane from South Africa had landed just before our plane. So there was like 200 people in line. And then our plane was coming off, right? So then there's another 100, 200 people coming off of our plane that are going to be online for this. And I was at the front of the line anyway from my plane, but everybody from South Africa was already still in line, so I couldn't get in front of them, obviously. But I had global entry. So what I did, I walk over, it, take your glasses off, scan your eyes, and then it says, "Oh, okay, welcome, so and so," and then you walk over to another, and then there's a guy with an iPad, and he's like, "Oh, are you Mr. Addy?" He didn't say that, but not that my last name is hard to find, but I'm not going to advertise it. But he's like, "Hey, are you Mr. Addy?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, okay, welcome home." Walked right on past. That's it. That is it. 5 seconds. It was wonderful experience, and So that was Global Entry coming home. And another good thing about that is, like, it was free. It's free for me because I have one of my credit cards. They pay for it. So I just had to register, and then I give them my credit card number, and then I just see and then this is a nice thing about American Express is I just see a little, I just see a little credit on my statement. As soon as the government charged it, Amex was right on top of it and put a credit in there. So it was free. American Express, I mean, if you get an American Express Platinum, they pay for all that stuff. Like, they pay for my TSA pre-check. They pay for the Global Entry. So that right there is like $300-400. And then, like, if you're in flight, I think you get an allowance of up to like $100 to $200 a year of like in-flight meals or stuff like that. That if you're in the plane, and you pay on your Amex. The bad thing about that is that not a lot of places will take Amex, but if they do, Amex will reimburse you automatically for that stuff. So that was getting back into the U.S. So while we're waiting for this to build, so this is why I hate Windows. This is so slow. This is so incredibly slow. Do you see how slow this is? And no, Joe, before you even say it, Joe, this is the same computer where I run City Skylines and broadcast without a problem. It's something about the disk. I think it's because it's in encrypted disks. So I finally got so even though I was in Bolivia for a thing with my uncle, I did manage to get a Bolivian ID card, like a Bolivian, I know we don't have national ID cards here in the U.S. I mean, things like that, but I did manage to get one in Bolivia. Nick Rudnev is in the house. He says, Greg covers all of that for me and files my business everywhere. It's always really good when people write inside jokes in the chat room. People always understand inside jokes, but I get that joke. No, so I was pretty excited on the way to Bolivia because again, it was kind of a family thing. So it turned out that my father, one of my cousins who lives here but is from Bolivia, and the three of us were all on the same flight to Bolivia. So we all left from the same airport and went down to Bolivia together, which was really awesome, by the way. Like, it's always kind of special for me to travel to Bolivia with my father. He's from Bolivia. He's one of the reasons I'm so familiar and go to Bolivia often. So whenever I have an opportunity to travel back to Bolivia with him, I always take it. And then also my cousin, right? I can't say I travel with my cousin to Bolivia, but just the fact that, like, all three of us were just kind of like going back to the homeland, the motherland, or whatever. I liked it. I really liked it. But this was the first time that I was able to travel to Bolivia without needing a tourist visa. Now, I do have a tourist visa, which I think is good until 2026, and I brought that with me just in case. But if you follow me at all, whether it's my message board, I probably talked about it on other streams here, is that I finally got a Bolivian birth certificate. And so when I went to Bolivia and they see my American... So actually, no, they didn't. I mean, obviously, when I gave them my passport, I gave them my American passport because it's the only one I have right now. But, if you do any international traveling, you know that when you arrive at a place, you'll see lines for immigration. And it'll usually say, foreigners. And then there'll be a separate line maybe for diplomats. And then a third line for citizens of that place that you're trying to enter. And so this was the first time I went to the Citizens of Bolivia line, Ciudadanos de Bolivia, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But I went to that line, and it was really cool because I gave him my passport and I gave him my birth certificate. And he looks at it, but I didn't know if they were going to stamp it or not. So he stamps it, and I'm like, I just made sure. I was like, well, because normally when they stamp it, they'll write something on it. Like they'll write 30 or 60 or something like that. That tells you how long you can stay in the country. But so he stamps my passport, and I say, and all in Spanish, but I ask him, I'm like, I can stay without limits, right? And he's like, yes. There's no limits for Bolivians. And I was like, oh. And like literally, like after he like said that to me and I passed immigration, I part of me, like I got emotional. Like I kind of wanted to cry. Like I felt very tearful. It was pretty cool. Nick, okay, so Joe says WTF. I don't know what he's WTFing. Nick says there is only one motherland, and I assume he's talking about Putinstan, and he wrote some Cyrillic. Tuvrenish Zendanye. I don't know what that is. Birdo Pray 5 says, why do you hate America? What do you mean? Oh, okay, so look at this. Look at this. Look. It built successfully. I've got an EXE now. It built, I wonder, why would it built successfully? That is interesting. Okay. We're gonna figure out how to run it. Okay, GeoSketch, we gotta go back to the source code, go into this. But as I was saying, so then the first week I was there, obviously tried to go see my uncle and do the family stuff. But part of what I was there for that first week as well was to get a Bolivian ID card. Now, I am going to assume, at least, that the people listening to me, that you're probably Americans, or you're at least in America. I know Joe is, and I'm more American than Joe, but Joe likes to pretend, he's Mr. America. And then Nick, I know Nick is here in America as well. But if you've spent any time in this country as somebody who lives here, especially if you were born outside of the country of the U.S. and now you live here, Joe, yes, Joe, I am still more American than you. You know about bureaucracy in this country. You know how bureaucracy is bad. It is nothing compared to Bolivia. It is nothing. So I had to go to the downtown La Paz 3 times, 3 different days in order to get my ID, because, well, first of all, you go to one place. I have my birth certificate, right? And the ID is called a carnet, C-A-R-N-E-T, and you can look it up, Bolivian carnet. And carnet in Spanish basically just kind of means ID. But I wanted to get my Bolivian carnet. So I go the first day with my birth certificate and my American passport and then like some other paperwork. And so I go the first day and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. You need what was it called? It's called Certificado de Partido Única y Dirigente. And I asked my family about this form. Certificado del Partido Única y Dirigente. And apparently, the way that it translates roughly is a certificate of uniqueness and existence. Like a certificate that says, you do exist, and you are the only one that's you. That's kind of how I interpret it. Now, my Spanish, I'm not a native speaker of Spanish, so if anybody else maybe has a better translation, let me find this. I mean, it was ridiculous. Bolivia certificado, no, not certificado de nacimiento. I had that. There we go. Why is cat? P-A-R, Partido Única, I think it was Virgente, something like this. Not dirigente, that's something else. Derelict, Virgente, Vigente, tal vez Vigente. So anyway, I needed this form. So I went down and I got this, I went down on I can't find it. Maybe I'll find it later. It's kind of, you know what I have? I have it in my messages. Let me look at this up really quick. So I went down, so I arrived on, I think it was Sunday, and then so Monday, I'm like, all right, well, I want to go down and get this process started, right? Who knows how long this is going to take? So on Monday, I go down to the building, and then they tell me, oh, well, you need this certificado de partido de única, blah, 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 blah. Like, well, really? So, okay, whatever. So then I have to go to another building in order to get this other place. Joe says, maybe you dreamed up the form. No, I did not dream up the form. The form actually does exist. I'm going to find it. I got to find it. All right. No, I'm stopping the show because of you, Joe. I remember the word. Okay. Única certificado de partido. No, it was not a certificate. It was not a marriage certificate. I remember that. Let's just take out Bolivia. All right, never mind. All right, I give up. Maybe I did dream it. But so it was a Monday, and then they say, okay, well, the form will be ready on Thursday. Great, gotta wait. Why? I don't know. So I go back on Thursday to get the form, and I get the form, and then they're like, okay, now you got to go to this other building to get your ID. Okay. Go to the other building and get the ID. And she's looking at things, and she's like, yeah. She's like, oh, well, because she starts asking questions, and she's like, well, wait, were you born here? And I was like, no, I was born in the U.S. because, you know, I'm more American than Joe, so I was born in the U.S. And she said, oh, well, you need. And she's like, well, where did you get this birth certificate? And I said, well, I got it at the consulate in the U.S., the Bolivian consulate in the U.S. That's where I got it. Oh, well, no, this isn't going to work. You need a birth certificate that was printed here in Bolivia. Why? Like, why? Really, why? So I'm like, okay, well, is that something we can do here? No, you need to go to this other building to get another birth certificate. So I go to the other building, and then I explain the situation to this woman, to the woman there, saying I need one that's like certified here or notarized or whatever here in Bolivia. Wait, let me check up on messages real quick. Joe says maybe you dreamed of the form. It was the boxing certificate. You signed up to box. Addy versus Tyson in Bolivia. I forfeit that match. Nick says, sounds like Sterling DMV. No, it was so much worse than the DMV area. It was tons worse than the DMV area. So, okay. So now she says, okay, well, you need a new birth certificate. So I go to this other building. I go to this other woman. I explain the situation. She takes my birth certificate and just runs. She doesn't run. She just leaves. Okay. I literally waited like 20, 30 minutes. I didn't know what this woman was doing, but at some point I started thinking like, okay, well, maybe she's actually just printing out the new birth certificate. So you got to understand when the consulate in Washington, D.C. sent me my Bolivian birth certificate, they sent me the birth certificate itself, and then they sent me a couple of other forms, like something that had like I had to give them like passport photos, and they took it and they stapled it and stamped it to a couple of other forms. And then this other form they gave me, when you are part of the Bolivian National Registry, when you actually become a citizen, there's a series of huge books, like these big books. And they literally handwrite your name, handwrite your parents' name, they literally handwrite all your information into these books. There's many of these books throughout the country. And so what you have with that is your birth certificate entry essentially is in a book number and on a page number in that book. So everybody has a book and page number, right? And that's kind of how that they would look up your information to make sure that, yes, you are registered in the National Registry. So, yes, we can print you a birth certificate. So the lady took my birth certificate, and then another man comes back, and he comes back with like he comes back with these big books, or a big book. And with my birth certificate in one hand and the big book in the other one. And he says, I can't find you. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I can't. He's like, and he shows me the birth certificate where it says book number and page number. And then he has the copy of that book. And then he showed me the page number, and it's like some other name. It's like, I don't know whose name that is. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Well, luckily, the consulate, what they had done, they had sent me a photocopy of that page of my page in the National Registry. And so luckily, I had a photocopy of that page with me. So I handed it to him and I said, well, here, I mean, I'm in the registry. Here is where I'm at in the registry. And he said, oh, the birth certificate is wrong. And I'm like, great. And he said, I'll print you a new one and I'll correct it. Great. Perfect. 10 minutes later, he comes back with a new birth certificate. And he comes back with a brand new birth certificate with all the correct information. And then he gives it to this other woman, and she's sitting behind this desk, and she's like typing in some information into another registry. I don't know. And then she prints out this form, and she's like, can you look at this and make sure that everything is correct? Everything is correct. All right. So I'm looking, my name's correct, got my dad's name, my dad's birthday, my mom's name, my mom's birthday? My mom's birthday? My mom is born in January. But on this form I'm looking at, it says she's born in June. And so then I start thinking, like, do I tell them? Because this is a big decision at this point. Do I actually tell them? Because if I tell them, maybe they're going to want proof that she was actually born in January. Right? I already gave them a copy of her passport, and the people in D.C. when they screwed up the book number, so it's not a surprise they screwed up my mom's name, or my mom's birth date at least. And so, sorry, something going on downstairs. So anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, like, do I tell them? Because I'm afraid that they're going to want some kind of proof that this is going to be a whole thing. And you know what? I said, yeah, she was born in June. She wasn't born in June. But I went ahead and I signed off on it. So now they gave me a new birth certificate, and I have this Certificado de Partido Única Vigente. So I have and then I have all my other paperwork. And at that point, I think that was about it, because then after that I was actually able to take everything. I was able to take all that information and go to another building. Oh, no, that wasn't everything. I forgot one other step. There was one other step. So obviously, you're getting an ID card or whatever. There's going to be a small fee. So I go to the building and I'm prepared. I got for some reason I knew it was 12. It was 12 Bolivianos, which is less than $1. It's literally like $9. No. It's almost $2. So it's probably like $1.70. Very small fee. So I have my cash, I have all my paperwork, I have everything I need to get this ID card. And at this point, it's about, I got there, they closed at 4, I got there at like 3:50 on Thursday. And so I'm ready to do everything. It's all good. And then she says, where is your, tiene una receta? Para la cuenta. I don't remember exactly how she put it, but she was asking me for a receipt. And I'm like a receipt for what? No, well, you need to pay. You need to pay for the you need to pay for your ID. Well, I have cash. No. You need to go to a bank. Tell them that you are paying for your Carnet. They will take the cash from you and then deposit it into the state's bank account. They will give you a receipt, and then you bring that receipt back, and then that's how you have your proof of payment. So I had to go to the bank. I had to rush, but I at this point, I pretty much realized that I wasn't getting the card that day. So I had to go to the bank, and I had to sit in line. I had to struggle with my Spanish and like tell them like, yeah, I'm trying to pay for a Carnet, and he fixed it all. And like, I give them literally the 12 Bolivianos or whatever it was. It was really cheap, and I get my receipt. And then, and so then I'm like, well, I guess I'm coming back again tomorrow. So the next day, Friday, I go back. I have my all my paperwork. I have my receipt. I have everything I need. And then I go in to the place where they print, where you go. And she's looking at everything. And she's looking and she's like, okay. And like at this point, my heart is just like, it's just like pounding. Like, oh my God, what next? What next? What next? And then so she's like, okay, just have a seat and we'll call you when we're ready. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, home run, baby, I'm getting it. So I'm sitting down and I'm watching. I'm like staring at her because I want to know when I'm getting this goddamn ID card. Like, because I'm seeing people going over to this other woman who's like taking pictures of them, having them sign something, and she's putting in some laminate and then printing it in, like doing a whole thing and then handing them a card at the end of it. So the first woman, she has all my information, and I see her walk my information over to this other woman who's doing all the printing. And then the other woman, she's sitting there, and she's she's making sure everything's in order. And then I see her pull a piece of paper up out of like the papers that were clipped together. She pulls a piece of paper out of them, and I can't hear what she says. She walks over to the first woman, hands that woman the piece of paper, says something which I couldn't hear, and then walks back to her desk, skips my, because I had taken a number, skips my number and starts processing the next person that was after me. And I'm like, what the F is going on? It was one of the most annoying and stressful times. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I did do it, but it was just, it was so awful. I still don't know what was wrong with it, but the first woman just literally just had to sign and stamp the back of my birth certificate. I don't know why. And then take it back over to the woman. And then at that point, the woman, when she was done with the customers or with the person she was working on, that person left. Then she called me over, took my picture, had me sign a bunch of paperwork, had me make sure everything was correct, and printed out my ID card and gave me my ID card. And voila, I now have a Bolivian ID card, which I wanted to show. Where can I do? I know I have a picture of it somewhere. Here we are. Let's see, open image. There it is with my full name. That's fine. But yep, it is. Maybe I'll blur that out. but that was my ID card. I was very proud of it. And then I'm going to stop talking about this right after this one last thing, because then when I was leaving the country, I guess not last night, but the night before last night, it was Friday night, because I still have just an American passport. So I'm going through immigration to leave Bolivia. And I go up to line, and he asks me for my passport. I give him a passport. Now, the thing is, Americans need a visa to enter Bolivia. You cannot enter Bolivia without a visa. And mind you, I told you at the beginning of this whole thing, I said I have one, but that I didn't use it when I entered. I used my birth certificate instead. Because with a visa, you have a finite amount of time you can stay in the country. But if you're a citizen, you stay as long as you want. But then when I was leaving the country, he, and this isn't exciting or anything, but it just made me feel really proud because he asked me for he's looking through my passport because I knew he was looking for the visa, which is my visa that I have for Bolivia is an older passport. So I've had to travel with two passports whenever I went to Bolivia. So he asked for the visa. And I just reach into my pocket and I pull out my ID card, my Bolivian ID card, and I just hand it to him like, soy boliviano. I'm a Bolivian. And then he's looking at it, he types it into the computer, and he looks at it, and he's like, well, what's your purpose to your visit to America? And I was like, I live there. And he's like, okay. Stamps my passport, gives me back my ID and my passport, and I was on my way. So that was a very it was a little special. I really liked that. Just like, no, I'm a Bolivian. Joe says Bolivia doesn't love Americans, eh? Well, no. The reason you need a visa to enter into Bolivia is, I guess, it started in like the late 80s, I think. Whereas a Bolivian, you did not need a passport to come here to America. And then Americans did not need a passport to come to Bolivia. Actually, I think it started in the mid-90s because the very first time I went to Bolivia was in 1992. And I did not need a visa. But, so when the U.S. changed that regulation and said, hey, if you're coming from Bolivia, you need a visa to get into the country. Bolivia was like, well, you know what? You need a visa to come into my country. And since then, Americans have needed a visa to go to Bolivia. It was changed briefly in like 2020 when Juanine Añares, or whatever her name was. This was after Evo Morales kind of stepped down. And then this other person took over. She was president for, I think, 9 months or so. But during her time, she removed the visa requirement. And I remember I actually did travel to Bolivia during that time, and they just asked me for my passport. But then as soon as she was removed from office and somebody else was elected in office, as soon as that happened, the visa requirement came back. So, you know, so Joe says maybe they don't like U.S. money. They do. They do like U.S. money, but I have a feeling they might be switching to the yuan. Yuan? I don't know. There's been talk about whether they want to move to a dollar standard or whether they want to move to a yuan standard. Is that how you pronounce the Chinese currency? Yuan? Yuan? I don't know. But so that was like the highlight of my trip to Bolivia, was just having the ID card, not having to worry about, you know, how long. Of course, the counterintuitive thing about that is that that the trip was only a 2-week long trip, so I ended up not staying really long. All right, so this was supposed to be programming and not talk about my trip to Bolivia, right? So I'm interested now because the program seems to compile just fine through the GUI, and I want to try running it. I know offhand that in order to run it, I have to tell it where the resource folder is. And the resources, and I can show you here, the resources are things like audio files, images, music, fonts. You can arrange it however, you can put those files anywhere you want, but I try to keep them neat and arrange them. I want to make sure there's nothing, so this is the, how can I put this? This is the, I don't want to say logo, but this is one of the, you know, this is a founding image of the production house that is going to write GeoSketch. This is the open image that we are using. This image to which absolutely nobody owns copyright for. Anyway, so like I was saying, you know, in the resources you can put any image you want, and then audio and stuff like that. So, but in order to run it, I have to for now, I have to specify the resource folder of where all those resources are. And then you can do that with a command line option, which is what I was just looking at, which is here. I don't think I need the equal sign. I think it's just going to be that. So let's try running it. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want it to be full screen. Not yet, at least. So there's another option I added. Okay, window size, or W. Okay. So what is a good... I need to look at common... let me do it. Let me do it over here. I need to look at common game resolution window size, or common game window sizes. Let's try this one. 1336 by 768. At some point, I'm going to have to decide on like an enforcement of this ratio. But for now, it's just very free formed. So I don't know if I need the equal signs or not. I honestly can't remember. I don't think I do. We're going to try it without first. Okay. So that, and then I might also want to mute it. No, let's try it with the sound at first, and then we'll mute it. We'll just see if this works. I'm curious to see if this is going to run. Oh, okay. It's building over here. All right. 1600 by 900. That's a good one too. I'll try that one next if this looks funky. But I'm trying to find something that looks good on the screen, but it's not. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Here we go. The code execution cannot proceed because blah, 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 blah was not found. So it's missing a DLL essentially. And, oh wait, I should have looked at the name of the DLL. We're gonna do some hacking here. We're done talking about Bolivia, but we're gonna do some hacking. So this is the file. Wait, I might have to go get some more water. I might have to go get some water in a second. I inhaled something I shouldn't have inhaled. Woo! That was something. All right, let's copy this. I'm pretty sure you can copy text from Modal, and then I just want to load up a copy of Visual Studio just for like a scratch pad, essentially. What do we got here? Just checking some messages. Okay, where is Visual Studio Code? Okay, here it is. It's right here. Okay, so let's just put this here. So what it cannot find is this. And I'm pretty sure... Okay, I don't... Oh my... Visual Studio Code, oh! I used to love... I remember I was using Visual Studio Code in the alpha. Like, the day that it came out, I started using Visual Studio Code. And I was telling people about it all the time. Now, it has become bloated because people started using it more and more. So when people were using it more and more, there was... it became popular, so they wanted to add more and more features, and now it's just bloated and just... Okay, what I need to do is I need to search for this file, but I don't know... let me see. We're gonna use Git because it's much like Bash. Where? Okay, I'm on this. See if I go home. I just want to literally look for the file itself. And it's going to take a minute. This is probably going to take a couple minutes. I am going to take this break, or this time. I'm going to take this time to go downstairs and maybe get another... Joe, do I want another soda or do I want some water? That is a tough decision. Maybe I'll get both, and then maybe I'll ask my wife if she could make me... Oh, wait. No, it did find... Okay, we did find it. Okay, never mind. All right. So we're using this. So the problem is the program is... Oh, Joe says both. Okay. Well, let me go get that. I'll be... I know one of these screens here says be right back. Let's see. Does that say be right back? No, this is a blink. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'll be right back. So, I've got big bottle of water and a new soda. Perfect. Okay, let me change this. All right, I think it's a little bit better down if the camera's down here on the bottom right-hand side. Let me know if you hate it, and I'll change it back. But I think it's pretty good. Let's see. Oh, Captain Fandom Nerd also agreed that I should bring both. Yes, I think so. Bird of Prey says hi to Captain Fandom. Captain Fandom says hi to Bird of Prey. Oh, very good. Very good. Friends reuniting in the chat room is a beautiful sight. Oh my God. Ooh, that might hurt my throat when I almost choked there. That was rough. All right, I'm just when did these expire? Okay. A lot of people don't know this. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not going to speak to how many people do or don't know this. But sodas, as with most things, they have an expiration date on them. You can see this one expires May 27th. Now I know what the thought is. You're thinking, a soda expires? A soda doesn't expire. That's so stupid. Why does a soda expire? Here's the thing. Now, I don't know that, anything necessarily goes bad. I don't know that you're going to get sick for drinking an expired soda. But it absolutely 100% is the case that if you drink that soda past its expiration date and soda before its expiration date, that there is a stark difference in the amount of carbonation. Massive difference in the amount of carbonation. And the closer it gets to the expiration date, the flatter the soda is. I drink Diet Mountain Dew not so much because of the taste. I do like the taste. But I drink it because it hurts a little bit to drink. Like, it literally, there's like, if you drink it too fast, you will get a burn in your throat. It will literally hurt a little too much to drink. And I like that. And so there's nothing, see, I don't think this is very carbonated. So there's nothing worse than opening up one, taking a sip, and it's just flat. Like, it's disgusting. I will literally just dump it out. It is disgusting. This one's okay. It could be more carbonated. And so, like, when I travel and I can't find Diet Mountain Dew, I'm not looking for a soda that has a similar taste, right? Because, like, I'll travel and somebody that, like, knows me and I'll be with my wife, whatever, like, to be like, well, they have regular Mountain Dew, because a lot of places will have regular Mountain Dew. Why don't you just drink that? I know you don't want the sugar, but it's still, the taste the same. Like, it's not about that. It's about the carbonation. And honestly, when I was in Finland and they had those, they had Diet Mountain, or they had Mountain Dew without sugar, which you would think is like Diet Mountain Dew. No, they were awful. Because they were just flat. They were flat. So when I'm abroad, I find these 500 milliliter black Pepsi. That's the bomb. When I don't have access to this, it's 500 milliliter black Pepsi bottles. So good. So good, because they hurt. They hurt. They hurt to drink. All right. So what's happening here is the program is telling me it doesn't know where to find the DLLs. So I need to set the package correctly. Or I need to tell it where to find the DLLs. And normally that's done... Where is that done? It would be done over... Where is it? Input. Is it going to be done here? Additional dependencies. I think this is where, but this is all lib files. This is for linking though. That's for linking. Yeah. You can, and even if, so what's basically happening is that one of the library files that the program needs to like draw graphics or something like that, it can't find them. And there's two types of library files. So when you build your program, you're creating an exe file, at least on Windows. And it's pretty much the same on Mac and Linux, but it's not explicitly named .exe. Oh my gosh. I'm still choking. Now, that exe file, you write your code, but a lot of times, 99% of the time, you're using libraries as well to help you with your code, because there's no point in reinventing the wheel. So the question becomes then, when you're building your exe, how does the code from those library files get incorporated into your exe? And this is called linking. You're linking your program to a library. And there's two types of linking. There is static linking, and what that does is it takes the code from the library and it actually copies it into your exe. And this has the benefit of, like, you don't have to distribute another file, because there's dynamic and then there's, what's the other? Oh yeah, static and dynamic. Dynamic linking, it means that the code from the library, your program will try to load up it will look for the code it will look for the library on a different part of your disk. And then if it finds it, it will load the code out of that file. So that's dynamic linking, and that's what DLL stands for, Dynamic Linking Library. These lib files here, these are static library files. These are the ones that would get built into your .exe. the file that we're missing is a DLL. All right, and we found copies of those DLLs. So basically what we need to do is we need to tell our exe, hey, look in this folder for a copy of this DLL program. And I'm trying to remember how to do that. And this is Windows, so there's a couple of different things I need to take into consideration. Because it's not... So I need to give it the path, but since I need to fix up the path because I'm doing everything in like a Linux prompt, so I got to fix it up like a weirdo because Windows is stupid. And then I got to figure out which one of these to use. And I don't think it really matters too much. I'm going to go with this one that has rel with devinfo since we're building rel with devinfo. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. And I'm just making the folder name, right? So I got to go through. Woof! All right, I got to change all of those forward slashes to backslashes because this is Windows. And then this should be good. And now what I need to do at this point, whoops, I didn't want to do that. I want to do this. Well, first I need to find where that setting is. I think it's been a while. It's been a while, but this is one of the more common settings in Windows. Where would I define this? Where would I tell it to? Just give me a minute, okay? Just relax. It's not under debugging. Although one thing I could do is, I have an idea. I could just set the path. But I got to set the path over here. So I do this. It's Windows. Yes. Okay. So what I mean by setting the path is when a program loads, you can put all these things that are already set in memory. They're called environmental variables. And then your program can look at all the environmental variables on your system and use them however it needs. In this case, we want to use a very special environmental variable called the path. The path is essentially a list of folders that tell programs where to look for things. Oh my God. And I can't type. So, whoops. So what I want to do is I want to add this folder to the existing path because I don't want to overwrite it, right? I don't want to overwrite it. I still want the program to have all the other path settings. I just want to add this one path to the setting. So let me make sure that this path actually exists and then I didn't make any typos. And the best way to do that is just by doing a dir of the path. And yeah, and you can see here, you've got the lib files for SFML, which is the static linking library files. And then you got the DLLs, which are the dynamic linking. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's try this first, and let's see if this helps. We're going to run it. Shouldn't have to rebuild. Should just run right away. Okay. No, we're making progress. Now, this is one thing that I've actually told. I remember this was this junior engineer that I was working with maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. And he was a somewhat of a junior guy. He'd been in the industry for maybe 3 years at that point. And I remember explaining to him that, like, you know, if you're working on something and you keep getting the same error over and over, and you're working, you get the same error over and over, and then if finally you change something and then you get a new error, that's good. And it took him, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but new errors are good because that means that the old error, you might have fixed the old error, and now, you know, you just have another challenge to look for. All right. Invalid screen size. How did it get that weird ASCII character in there? Okay, so let's look at this. We're getting close. So just keep that in mind that new errors are good. 1600 by 900. Okay, 1600 by 900. We're going to go with Joe's setting for the screen. Let's try this now. We're going to give it a shot. Okay, here's the debug. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Studios.
All right, I was talking over that. Let's start over. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Dogfinger Studios.
And then, okay, and this is it. And if I go to new game, so this is what I was talking about, right? And you can, okay, I've got a debug window over here running, and it's showing me like every time I'm moving. That's gonna, anyway. So the way I envision this game working is, it looks kind of like I've drawn a chicken, right? So I don't know that there's any countries that now. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of work to do here, right? But the way I envision this is on the left-hand side of the screen here, it would say Spain, and then maybe at the top there would be a timer, okay? And I think this is 100 by 100 grid, so it would say Spain, go, and then maybe like a tick like a timer kind of ticking, and you have to draw Spain, right? You got to come over here, and obviously these drawing tools need to be improved and things like that. But you would, this is the idea. You would draw Spain. Let's see, can I clear? Okay, I can clear. Let's do a country like Bolivia, right? I could talk about Bolivia all day. So something like this, and then down like that, and then boom, right? So once I've drawn it, so on the left-hand side, you got the timer. It says Bolivia. And then I was also thinking, like, as the timer is counting, like, maybe you have a minute. And as the timer is counting, it tells you little facts about the country or population. And Bolivia is the best country in South America. And Joe hates Bolivia. And just things like that. As it's coming down, then you hit the submit button. And then it gives you a score as to how well you did and how close you were. Things like that. So that essentially is the game. So we did get it to run, but we had to do some. I still don't understand why it didn't run on the command line, or why it didn't build on the command line. But this is the game. This is it. There's a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. Ooh, boy, get some more water. I am still recovering from that. I'm spilling water all over myself. Oh, God, I'm a mess. This is your fault, Joe. Now, so I think the thing to do here is to... What to do here? Okay. Just calm down, okay? I want to look... There were two problems we encountered. There was the... Okay, there was... Couldn't... Oh my God! What is going on? Just come... Would you... Hello? I literally... I feel like a boomer right now. I feel like so boomer. F12. F12? F11? There we go. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. We couldn't build from command line. That was one issue. And then we had to manually set the path for the SFML libraries. Okay, so these are two things. And actually, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll use the handy dandy. Let's see. I'm going to use the handy dandy GitHub feature for issues. If I can sign in, let me see. I'm going to sign in off screen. Let me see this, and then I think and then nope, that's not right. Then maybe it is that. Nope, that's not right either. And what about that? Is that gonna? Nope. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. I need to. I'm trying to sign in to GitHub on another Chrome instance, and I don't remember my password, which is a common thing. Guys, if you have my password, please feel free to send it to me so that I can sign in. Let's see. I've already tried password, so don't even send that. I mean, let's see. Let me try Joe's birthday. Let's see if that works. Wait, what is this? Okay, it says behind a key manager, which is good at least. Okay, good. Hi. Okay. Okay. I have got it, I think. Okay, we're signed in. That's good. Now I have to do two-factor authentication. God forbid I never lose my phone. No, I don't. Wait. No. Use authenticator app. Okay. And that's another thing that's driving me nuts. Is like nowadays there's like 6 different no, I literally have 3 authenticator apps on my phone. I have Google's, I have Microsoft's, and then I have another one. We'll just leave it at that. But everybody wants an authenticator app. Okay, where? Okay, okay, there we go. Okay, good. We're signed in. We're signed in. Good. Although now I'm thinking I should have used Jira. Maybe I will use Jira. Let me sign into Jira over here too. Because I kind of want to try to start using Jira just as issue and feature tracking. So let's see. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. Let me just get this over here. Is that gonna work? Okay, that worked first time. Okay, that's a little scary that worked the first time. All right, no, I don't need to do all that. Okay, let's bring this over here. Okay, do we want to use Jira? I wonder if there's any way to link Jira to a GitHub. Can you link Jira to GitHub? How to link Jira to GitHub? Connect Jira with GitHub. Integrate any Git repo with Jira, including GitHub. Okay, yeah. Okay, because that's what it would be really cool to see issues in Jira appear as issues in GitHub, I guess, or something like that. All right, let's see. Joe says he'll be back soon. Where did you left me, Joe? You left me. Okay. I think for now, what I'll do is I'll just put these as issues in on the GitHub. So the first one was well, let's debug the first one a little bit. So this, where is this project? This project is it in the build folder? Let me see. Properties. Oh my God. It is infuriating how many things in computers are so they're obvious functionality that is just completely missed, right? That just is overlooked. Like I remember this, I don't think it's the case anymore, but a long time ago, I've used Visual Studio since 1998, 99, somewhere around there. And for the longest time, if you had a file over here on the left-hand side, you can move this, but if you had a file, oh, hi dog, hi puppy. If you had a file, it was nearly impossible to get the actual folder. Like it such basic functionality, and you couldn't get the folder for it. It was irritating. I completely forgot what I was going to do. What was I going to do? Okay. I was going to try building it. So this I could see because I was looking at the exe it's producing. This is in the build folder. I think what we're going to do is we're going to try building in another folder. Because I want to get the command line version to work. So let's write a bug. Unable to build on Windows from using CMake and command line. The steps to reproduce will be determined. I just want to write a new one. So let's see. We'll sign it to myself because I'm working on it now. The labels, this will be a defect or a bug. I guess it's a bug under here. That's good. Projects, no. Milestones, no. Development, no. I do kind of want to add... let me see if I can add something. I want to add one more field that I think... Okay, we're not going to do that right now. because I wanted to add a field that said what operating system it's on, because this will be able to run on multiple operating systems. So we'll do this. Windows unable to build using CMake and command line. Got that. Perfect. Milestone. This will need to be fixed before 1.0. There we go. Create and assign 1.0. Okay. Project, no. Development, show branches. Okay. Boom. Okay, so we got a bug. We got our first bug for GeoSketch. All right. So let's see. I'm really big on just wanting to write that bug. So let me just come over here, and then there we go. And then hopefully that copied. And then let's see. After configuring CMake with -d CMake build type equals rel with deb info, the build produces the following output. Okay, that's a big long thing, and then there we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, excellent. We got this. We are rocking this already. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of start over, but we don't have to start completely over, right? We can actually just. So I already have a build new, so I think I might have done this anyway. So what I can do is I can do build or make directory, and this is how you will create a new build folder in general. I mean, I'm sure there's many ways to do it, but this is one. I'm going to call it build 2. We change into build 2. And remember, I said that with CMake, the first step was to configure, and we can do that by we go into the folder we just created, and we got to tell CMake, we got to point it to the folder where all our source code is. But really, it just wants to look for the CMake list.txt file, but we point it to that, and then here is where we're going to say CMake build type equals rel with deb info, and then there was that other variable at the beginning. Remember, there was that other one. Let's see if it's in our scroll. If we scroll up enough, maybe it's there. Because I had to change like I had to change something about SFML. Our TGUI was here it is right here. This is it. This is what I need to change. Boom. Okay. But that might actually be, was that a build parameter? I don't remember. We'll find out. TGUI back in SFL. Okay, so let's see if it configures. Is this, okay. It looks like it's going to configure for the correct version of Visual Studio. I forgot to do that. Normally you have to specify which version of Visual. Oh, okay, something happened. Okay, Conan paths. Am I using plain old Conan on this? I must be. Okay, move on. Go downstairs. You're driving me nuts already. Go, dog, go. I didn't realize I was using Conan. Okay, so Conan is a package manager. It's one of many for C++. So nowadays you have tools like with NPM or Node, you have NPM, and Rust has cargoes and stuff like that. Basically, it's a way to download libraries automatically as part of your build process. Because the libraries you use, you might not always have them on your computer, or you might not always have them on the build machine. That's the most important part. And so Conan is one that I've been using for a couple of years now. I didn't realize. I did not, and it's been a long time since I've used Conan, so I'm going to have to get a refresher. But I didn't realize I was using. I knew I was using Conan, but I thought I was using it directly in the CMake file. Apparently, I'm not. Wow. Okay, it's been a long time since I've done this, so I'm going to have to look up. So the first step before you even do your CMake stuff is to download all the libraries you're going to need in order to build. So to do that, what I need to do is I need to remember how to do that. but I have a plan. I have other projects where I've been using Conan, and I can... Ooh, but not that project. Wait a minute. I have other projects where I've been using Conan, and they do builds, and I can look and I can see how they're doing the command, what the command is. Let me look if I can find it. Just bear with me here. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's coming back to me. So Conan install ... build missing. Then I want compiler. I need to tell it what compiler, because the libraries might be built with different compilers. So I need to tell it, well, wait a minute. C++ standard equals, we're going to go with 20. I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to hope that I don't need it. But I am going to do build type equals rel with deb info. Let me install build. Okay, let's see what happens with this. So apparently I need to run this, and then I need to run CMake. My dog's being an idiot. All right, let's see what happens. Yep. First, we just got to sit here for an hour. Oh, okay. And that's the thing. Most of the libraries are already installed. Okay, so that was very easy. So let's note that down. Here, let me get my breakfast. Be right back. Whoa. All right. Let's get my breakfast. All right. So let's take note of this. This command seemed to work, at least locally. Let's put that in our Scratch file. Where did my Scratch file go? Where did my Scratch file go? There it is. All right. Now we should be able to try the CMake command, because the originally CMake command was complaining that it didn't have this Conan file, but now that we've run the Conan command, that should have generated the Conan file. Now we can, okay, let's try it. Let's go. All right, that looks better. That looks a lot better. I got cucumber for breakfast. And then a nice greasy looking sandwich. Okay, so this was the last one. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just copy this out just to make sure. I'm old. I forget things. All right. That's the second step. Let me save this real quick. I don't want to lose track of it. So let's just save this as notes. No, let's leave it as geo sketch notes.md. Okay. You can't save here. What do you mean I can't save here? Literally, what do you mean that I can't save here? Windows, what are you telling me? Okay, let's do it like that. I can't save to the desktop? Okay, thank you. Thank you. I was getting ready to have a conniption fit. Okay. Oh, excuse me. All right, we got that. So that was the configuration step I told you about. Now let's actually try to build it from the command line. What do I need to tell it? Do I need to tell it here? I might need to. Rel with deb info. And then we'll do the parallel. We'll do 32. Go. What did I screw up? Dash build. Okay, so this should be ... What am I doing wrong? What It's one of those things where it should be really obvious, but for some reason I'm just missing it. Does he make? Maybe I don't need the build type. Oh, I want to do this. Okay, that's progress. It's building. Let's see if it actually completes the build, though. Yeah, so my friend who's going to help me work on this project, if we get this building, I'll just send him this video. And then he can sit there and listen to my story about Bolivia for an hour and a half. How long have I been streaming? Oh, wow. Almost 2 hours. Okay. And Joe left me. Hasn't come back. Yeah. Eating on stream. That's the best. It's going to take a little bit. So while I'm waiting for that, one thing we could do that... Oh, no, we can't do that. This might kill the stream for a second, but I'll be right back. Give me a sec. Okay, let's see if this kills the stream. Finger crossed. Okay, did that kill the stream? Did the stream drop? Welcome back, Joe. I hope everything's okay. But really, Joe, where do you go? What do you mean, be right back? Where are you going? You're in bed. Where are you going? That's what I want to know. When you say be right back, where are you going? He says he's still here. Yeah, I know. All right. I'm going to steal an idea from Joe. One thing that that he does on his stream, I'm going to try on mine. So let's see. I gotta sign into a website over here, though. Let me sign into a website off stream. Does that that password work? I love it when I get. Okay, so we got. So this game Nation States, I've been playing for. I've been registered for a long time. And I remember Joe was very surprised that because he discovered the game maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I had discovered it 15 years ago. So, anyway, but it gives you these list of issues that you have to resolve. You're the leader of a country, and you have to basically make decisions. And as you can see from my country is very it is the armed socialists of Zethon. So we are a socialist nation, but everybody is armed. And even though you don't have a lot of political freedom, the economy is doing amazingly well. It is so strong that it is frightening. That's how well this economy is doing. But where's the population? Where does it tell me? Doesn't it tell me the people? Okay, there's our flag. Cause of death. Where does it just tell me the population? It's all fact book. Fact book. I just want to know what the population is. What is the population of my country? Oh, sorry. It was right there in front of me. Oh, Joe says the table pulled away from him. Well, I hope the table came back. So a population of 11.375 billion people in my country is ruled by a mostly benevolent dictator who grants the populace the freedom to live their own lives, but watches carefully for anyone who slips up. And that's the way you should do it. Not really. That's the way you should do it if I'm running the country. If I'm running the country, then yes, I will be watching. Getting a little warm in here. So, anyway, let's check out the issues. I can still see here on the bottom. No, it's still building. It's going to take a little while because this computer is god-awful slow. Empathy, a rare commodity. Last week, a jaywalking man was hit by a truck at a busy intersection. He lay there for 17 hours before a policeman tripped over him and brought him to jail for loitering. The debate. This is despicable, yelps one lone protester, desperately trying to get others involved. How low have we sunk that we care so little for our fellow man that the answer is as plain as the nose on your face? You must create an empathy awareness squad. I already don't like it. They would train people on how to be kind and empathize with one another. Sure, it'll require some extra taxes, but can you really put a price on kindness? Yes, you can. I mean, what if you get hit by a truck next time? I already don't like that response. All right, second option. Good riddance, scoffs Shaka Fields, a sullen, disgruntled postal worker. I think we should give the policeman who arrested that freeloader a medal. Mandatory empathy programs? Ha! No amount of touchy-feely training is going to make me empathize with these idiots. This is nature's way of just weeding out the weak and infirm. In fact, we should cut back on social spoon-feeding programs we've got left. Give your good and decent citizens a tax break. I don't like either of these options. I would go with the second one, but I don't want to cut social spending. The first one I think is stupid, but I'm inclined to go with the first one because again, I don't want to cut back on social spending. The economy is so strong, you know. Like the citizens, like there's lots of money in the economy. My economy is amazing, doing amazing. I think you know what? I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm gonna think on that one for a minute. Second one, sexual healing. A long-running series of texts from a high-prolific public supporter of yours has taken a drastic turn, as they've started to send you flirty romantic advances. Almost a normal day in the office, your phone suddenly dings, triumphantly displaying a very lewd picture they've just sent you. All right. So, somebody is sending me lewd pictures. I mean, as a man, I think men and women will react differently to that, right? Especially from a man's point of view. If a hot woman sends him lewd pictures, they're going to be welcomed. Even if they're like surprised. Most times they're going to be like, wow. Now, if you're a married man, and you're a good, faithful man to your wife, and you're a married man, and some other woman sends you lewd pictures, even then, the response might be, I'm a married man, please don't send them. But they're not going. The responses are going to be like imagine now women. If you send unsolicited sexual pictures to a woman, completely different response. And yeah, I think this is something that men just don't understand. It's like, we would love to receive a picture from someone, like when we go out on a date with a woman, and then like after one day, she sends you a picture of, something, the parts that the bathing suit covers, and she sends you a picture of that. We would love that. We would find that completely hot. However, if a woman goes on one date with a guy, doesn't matter how hot he is. I would put money that if a man sends that woman an eggplant picture, that the number one word that comes to mind is going to be, ew, gross. That's just how we are. Let's see what the options are. It's straightforward enough. This is sexual harassment, right? No matter what huge assets they have donated to you in the past, this crosses a line that should never be accepted. Why don't you make an example out of them to set a precedent for all victims of this gross behavior? Call them out publicly and encourage shaming perpetrators. That would certainly be a deterrent for any future offenders. I don't think I agree with that. Like, what is there needs to be more context here, right? Like, what if I'm, so I'm the president of this nation, and then I have this high profile supporter. Do I know this person? And if I do know this person, like, do we have any kind of, what is our rapport? What is our relationship? I don't think I agree with that. I don't think I agree with that. Second one. And yet, why should it be up to the victims to impugn their harassers? Not even to mention the risk of the media circus. The tabloids would have a field day. The headline would read, Max Power caught in a sexting scandal. Or worse, realistically, harassment is harassment. No more, no less. Send it to the law enforcement like any other crime. They can deal with it, and you can go on with real business governing the country. So is this just for me personally? Or is the law going to be no lewd, you can't send lewd pictures to me personally? Or is the law going to be you can't send lewd pictures at all? So far, I'm not liking one or two. Because the way they read is like, what if I'm like dating a girl and then she sends me a picture of her two important assets, and then like, is that against the law? Like I would. Okay. Third one. Your door flies open without even so much as a tap. A civil servant, Amos Gilligan, barges in holding a mountain of papers. Excuse me. He glances at the phone in your hand and frowns. On the phone again, boss? Look, here's all the new laws and petitions you have to deal with. I know it's not my place, but frankly, us staffers might get to go home at a reasonable hour if you got rid of that bloody thing and get to work. Hey, there's a fantastic basis for a new campaign. Why don't you ditch your phone to reconnect with the people of Zethon? Actually, I like that one. That one's my favorite, I think. The last one's not outlawing anything. It doesn't act, like, I don't want to, like, when women in the past have sent me nude pictures, they've been welcomed. Like, I'm a straight guy. I like seeing pictures of women. So when they've been sent to me in the past, they have been welcomed. Most of the time. So I don't want to, like, stop that. I don't want to put a squash on. I don't want to squash any prospect of future nude pictures. So we're going to go with the third one. Because the third one is just like, put your phone away. And then when you get home, then you can look at your phone and see all the nude pictures you want. Reasonable. Max Power is quite hard to get a hold of. I guess because I'm busy looking at nude pictures on my phone all the time. All right. Oh, no. He's hard to get a hold of because he doesn't have his phone on him. Well, that, if you're the president of a nation with such a huge economy, then I'm sure the president can afford a secretary. Okay, blood on your nuts. Oof. Cashew nuts are growing in popularity, and a good portion of the domestic market is supplied by cheap imports from the Socialist Republic of New Viensong. However, that nation is being criticized for its agricultural working standards, and as a major customer of its goods, Zethon is being seen as part of the problem. Okay. So, the debate. First one. Caustic shell chemicals are released by Caustic shell chemicals are released by deshelling cashews, causing chronic acid burns to workers' hands, all because Nouveau Song growers are too stingy to provide protective gloves, lectures Eve Edwards, wearing an Ethical Importing Matters t-shirt that was probably manufactured in the Dongao sweatshop. Worse, still, many of these workers are unpaid forced labor for so-called drug rehabilitation centers. Just so you can put your nuts in a bowl with a coffee, we should demand that these plantations improve their working standards and ban imports until they do. I don't hate that one, but I'm not completely crazy about that one either. I'm going to take another bite of my breakfast sandwich. I mean, I can see... I I don't consider it unreasonable to say we are not going to buy your product until your product is up to our standards, and until your manufacturing process is up to our standards. I don't see anything unreasonable with that. All right, let's move on. Look, if we stop trading with every nation that has dodgy labor laws or workers with a skin rash or two, we wouldn't be able to trade at all, complained spice lover Kareth Longfellow between mouthfuls of delicious smelling nut curry. Maybe instead of restricting trade, you could be supporting cashew growers in this country. We can maintain good agricultural workplace standards and have government subsidization allow our farmers to present competitive prices. You'd be nuts to say no to that. So, when I was reading the first sentence, I was thinking like, well, yeah, like grow the nuts internally. Like why just grow the nuts internally? I like that. I like the idea of bringing the work home to the country and doing the work in the country. I like that, and they're right, because if you do that, then yes, you can maintain workplace standards and all of that. I'm not crazy about the government subsidization to present competitive prices. I'm not crazy about that, but I get it. That's a tough one. We still got a third one to go for, so let's try it. I'm nuts for nuts too, agrees your brother, grabbing a handful of cashew droop seeds, peanut legume pods, and almond kernels, except for hazelnuts and cadle nuts, which shouldn't count as nuts at all in my opinion. I have to say though, this idea of using forced labor and plantation sounds like it could be good for our economy. We should set something up like that. Oh dear. No. What would you do, Joe? What would you do? And what about Captain Fandom Nerd? What would you do? Sorry, I took another bite of my breakfast. I'm thinking number 2. I like the idea of bringing manufacturing and work home. I like that idea a lot. But really, 1 and 2, couldn't they be the same? Like, why couldn't you... Because I don't want to subsidize the farmers. I feel like that's bad. Caustic said, worse still, many of these workers are unpaid forced labor, so-called drug. It's just so you can take your nuts. I think I'm going to go with number 2 because that's going to create jobs at home. And hopefully, if the country does a good job, then you won't have to, hopefully, and I know this probably doesn't work real in practice, but hopefully the I'm hoping that those are temporary. I'm going to go with 2. Joe says forced labor. Of course Joe would want forced labor. Of course he would. I'm going to go with number 2. Big agricultural has the government by the nuts. All right. Sandbagging. I'm going to take another bite of my sandwich. Almost done. I'm going to take a sip. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute, okay? Just chill. I'm here. Just relax. Just wait. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. A small island has vanished into the sea. Farmland was flooded. When a river burst its banks and whole villages have been near submerged by rising waters. The reason for these floods? Sand mining. Billions in tons of sand and gravel extracted from rivers, lakes, and coastlines. I already don't like it. I don't like. I haven't even read the options yet, but I don't like that idea. I just don't like it. I don't like it. First one. We can't stop the modernization of Zethon, states Matthew Mounserman, your Minister of Residential Construction on Aggregates. These materials are the literal foundation of our economy. If you want buildings and infrastructure, you need sand, glass, computer chips, sand. Did you know it takes 30,000 tons of sand to build just 1 kilometer of motorway? Avoiding flooding just takes a little planning and maybe some concrete barriers. Nothing should hinder the development of Zethon. I'm not crazy about that one. I mean, I see the point, but you can extract natural resources in a responsible way. And are we doing it in a responsible way? I don't know. I'm going to take my last bite of my sandwich because it's staring at me. So good. So good. All right. Give me a minute to chew and swallow, okay, Joe? Just relax. Just relax, everybody. Do I still have the be right back sign on? No, I don't. Okay. It would have been funny if I was here broadcasting the whole time. All right, let me take a sip of water, and then we're done with the sandwich. No more eating. Okay, let's go. Our addiction to sand is staggering, declares Nepen Jadza, your environment minister, as he tries to prove how easy it is to reuse everyday objects by cleaning his fingernails with a paperclip. At first, they extracted it from quarries, but when they ran out, they took the sand from beaches, then islands. Now they're dredging the seabed. The construction industry needs to stop in its tracks. Who needs that much concrete anyway? Well, I'm not crazy about that one because you might need it. You might need, like, I feel like 1 and 2 are an extreme, right? Like the first one is like, we need this. Take as much as you want from wherever you want. Whereas the second one is like, don't take any. Just stop completely. Surely there's a common ground. I've got an alternative. Okay, I'm listening. Muses passing manual laborer son tall chief. Hefting a heavy iron mallet. Need more sand and gravel? We can make it. Just smash up rocks from the hills and mountains. Bash them into pieces. Hammers, bombs, giant stompy robots. She demonstrates by smashing a marble bust of your predecessor. I'm not crazy. That's just moving the problem. That's not solving the problem. That's just moving the problem. Because now you're just going to start, I bet you if I selected number 3, the little text at the end would be like, Zethon is quickly becoming the flattest nation in the world, or something like that. You know where there's a lot of sand? The desert, exclaims Beth Cartman. No, she's not wrong. One of your science advisors, as she stretches some kind of day-glow gunk. True, desert sand is too fine and we haven't found a way to bond it together yet. But I'm sure if we give it a go and give it lots of determination and government funding, yes, we'll find a way. I think that's my favorite one. I'm not against government funding for helping find alternative technologies that will actually be for the greater good. And since I am a dictator in this nation, I can actually make sure that the money I give them is used for good. And if they don't, I can send them to the gulag. So I'm going to go with number 4. Residents of houses built on a foundation of wishful thinking are prone to the odd sinking feeling. Okay. All right. Okay. Next issue. The cost of freedom. I like freedom. So I'm willing to pay a high cost for it. Let's see what this is about. After a highly publicized arrest in which one of the nation's wealthiest celebrities was detained for assaulting 2 of her servants with a priceless Fabergé egg, some of Zethon's rich had begun demanding the right to avoid prison terms by paying off their victims. No, absolutely not. Absolutely 100% no. It makes sense. Like, no sense for someone like, I'm not even going to read it. No. You've got to be kidding me. Below, Zethon's Attorney General, Lysander, angrily pounding his fist on the desk. No one should be above the law, no matter how much money they have. It's bad enough that they can hire some shyster lawyer to get them off on a technicality most of the time. As a matter of fact, we should make the rich use public defenders. It's only fair considering everyone else is stuck with them. You know what? Just expand the entire public defender's office while you're at it. I don't hate that one, though. I do think I think you should be given if you can afford a private lawyer, you should be allowed to use a private lawyer. I think that's, I don't like the idea of forcing somebody. No, I don't like it. What you could do, let's read the next one. Joe, what would you do in this one? Instead of wasting money on prisons or violent criminals, I could take care of your problems, suggest Ios Trump, Zethan's wealthiest psychopath, while polishing a rifle. I am an unrivaled hunter with animals. There's no challenge for an expert such as myself. If you sent prey to my island estate, I'd be willing to throw a few Bolivianos the government's way. You save money, I take care of the scum in your penal system. Sounds like win-win to me. Now that's a little silly. I'm going to go with that one. I don't like any of these. First one, absolutely not. Rich people, absolutely, they need to spend time in prison if they've broken the law, just like anybody else. Absolutely not. That is because the most valuable thing in life is time. And no. And we have decided as a society that, well, like I just said, the most valuable thing in life is time. And as a society, we have decided that people, when they break the law, they pay the price with that thing, which is time. And, sometimes money as well. You are levied fines when you break the law a lot of the time. But if you go to prison, that is because you are paying the price of something that is invaluable and that you can never recoup, and that's time. And no, rich people absolutely should have to go to jail. I'm inclined to go with number 2, but I don't like the idea of forcing rich people to use public defenders. I think if you can afford a private lawyer, I think you should have the right to do that and to hire one. I think I'm gonna have to go with number 2 because it's the only one who's like, no, rich people should have to go to jail too for breaking the law. So number 2 it is. Private law firms are unheard of. I mean, that's unfortunately. But then again, is anybody going to really complain that there's fewer lawyers? Anybody? All right, so let's go back to the first one. So this is the one about the jaywalking guy got hit by the bus. How low have we sunk? So the options are we create the empathy awareness squad or we just do nothing. Good riddance, scoffs Shaka, a sullen, disgruntled post worker. I think if we give the policeman a medal who arrested that freeloader. Mandatory empathy programs, no amount of much is going to give me empathy with these cities. This is just nature's way of weeding out the weak and infirmed. In fact, we should cut back. I don't want to cut back on social programs. In fact, we should cut back on social spoon feeding programs we've got left. Give your good and decent citizens a tax break. That's the only thing I don't like about that option. I'm going to have to go with it, though, because I think this is a lesser of two evils. And I think it's more evil. Well, wait a minute. You must create an empathy awareness squad, but is it a mandatory thing, right? Is this squad just something that you can electively choose to, partake in, or are you required? They would train people on how to be kind and empathize with one another. Sure, it'll require some extra taxes, but you can really. I think I'm going to go with number 1 because you're not cutting back on social programs. It's a little extra money, but the economy is doing great. But then again, I'm going to go with number 1. Citizens are tied down. Oh, I didn't want to know. It never said that. It never said it was mandatory because the result was citizens are tied down and forced to watch educational videos on empathy. That's not fair. That's not fair. All right, we've checked my online country. We've checked it, and it's still doing great. Okay, so we got the same goddamn error, and this is because it is trying to link the debug versions. I really feel. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I think I know what I think this is a Windows thing. CMake Windows specify build type at build I think this is a Windows thing. How to change type of release. Let's see. Let's go to that. Build in a release mode from command line using CMake. I'm pretty sure I thought it was build type, but maybe there's something different. Config. That's what I'm missing. That's what I need. Config. Rel with deb info. I think this is it, boys. I think this is what's going to fix all our problems. And now we've just got to wait another 20 minutes. If this builds, I'm going to put this in my build notes. I'm going to update that ticket, and then we're going to call it a day. It is April 14th. I still have to do my taxes. I still haven't done my taxes. Joe, have you done your taxes? What about you, Captain Fandom Nerd? You guys got your taxes done? Because I'm literally waiting to the last minute. One interesting thing about this year is I think I only got one email. Or I'm sorry, I think I only got one letter about taxes. You know, when they send you the forms, or maybe 2 or 3. But I don't even know where those are because I am confident that every form I need is online now. I'm actually very confident that every form that I could possibly need is online. So I'm not too worried. And actually, so the tax software I use links automatically with a lot of these other institutions. So it's just all kind of just there. So yeah, it's should be pretty easy. I think, you know, the past couple of years, I've never spent more than like 15, 20 minutes doing my taxes. Like, it's because it's all online. It's easy. Joe, did you do yours? Joe reminds me of the get a big return type of guy. Because he loves America so much that he wants to give America extra money in order to do better. So Joe is an anomaly like that. He's one of those guys who considers himself a conservative, but he actually wants to pay more taxes because that's how much he loves the country and wants the country to do better. He's also a very big Swiftie, like just loves Taylor Swift. Like I'm friends with him on Facebook, and his profile picture is of him and Taylor Swift on stage. It's obviously photoshopped, but it's very weird, his obsession with this person. Let's see. I'm just checking my email really quick while we're waiting for this to build. Brett Learn. Okay, nothing there going on. What about some messages over here? Let's check some text messages. See if there's anything new. I need to send a message. What is this? Okay, got this going. Alright, so let's do that. Why does this still show? Oh. Check Facebook, online. Check Instagram. Ooh, excuse me. I want to see how my wow. I want to see how my post is doing. Let's see. No kidding. What is this? Okay, good. Okay, we are almost done. Okay, we're still building over here. Still no response from Joe about if he's done his taxes or not, so I'm thinking he's probably trying to evade them. He's probably trying to not do them. Captain Fandom Nerd too. Captain Fandom Nerd still hasn't told me if he's doing his taxes, so I think they're probably just both trying to skip out on their taxes, hoping that the government won't notice. But I've got news for you. The government always notices. Yeah, always. Alrighty. What else do we have going on? Alright. So I haven't been home in like a week. Or 2 weeks. I was gone for 2 weeks. But I will probably start streaming again Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But at least until I leave the country again, which will probably be in like late May, early June. All right, let's see. Okay, just trying to get my... So one thing I haven't talked about is I think on the last time that I was here that we talked in this setting, because I missed you guys, I had mentioned that I had bought tickets to Africa. And then, of course, now I've been talking about spending the past 2 weeks in Bolivia. And that is accurate. Literally what had happened was I had purchased tickets to Africa, to South Africa, and literally the next day, I think I purchased them on a Thursday night, and then literally Friday morning, less than like 12 hours after I had purchased the tickets, that is when my father texted me and said, your uncle, he's not doing well. I'm going to Bolivia on Sunday to see him. And that's when I decided, well, if my dad's going to Bolivia, and he said, and your cousin is going to Bolivia too. So I was like, well, if my dad's going and my cousin's going, I got to go. I'm going to go too. And at that time, I didn't know how long I would be staying in Bolivia. So, and I don't know if people know this. So I think probably it's pretty common knowledge. But if you purchase a plane ticket, you have 24 hours to cancel that plane ticket. 24 hours to cancel it with a full refund with no penalties. Now, I don't know if that is law or if that is just something that most plane companies do as policy. I suspect it is law because it seems very odd that airline companies would be that kind to just do that as some type of industry standard. So I suspect it's law, but you can. It's happened to me I don't want to say multiple times, but a few times where like I purchased the ticket and then the next day or a couple hours later I'm like, whoa, wait, that's different, and then I cancel it and with free of charge, not a single charge. So when my father told me that he was going to Bolivia, and I quickly decided that, well, if he's going, I'm going to go too. And I canceled the trip to Africa. However, I am thinking now that trip will likely take place in late May, early June. And kind of the same type of thing, right? You know, fly from here, where I'm at in the Washington, D.C. area, fly from here to Cape Town, direct flight, 14 and a half hours, stay in Cape Town, then maybe go to Botswana for a week, and then maybe from Botswana go to Zimbabwe for a week, and then after that come home. So that's kind of the and actually, no, not even come home, because since that would be happening late in the summer, or while summer is happening, I would probably just go from Zimbabwe to Brazil with the ultimate idea of going to Bolivia from Brazil. So that's kind of where my head's at, but I'm waiting to hear about some other stuff, and yeah, we'll see what happens. And I'll see what Joe thinks too, because apparently Joe has just left the chat room, and I got to get his opinion. He didn't tell me if he's done his taxes or not, so who knows. But do you really want to take advice from a guy who hasn't done his taxes by April 14th? I don't think I do. All right, we're building now. Getting closer to building. So the error that we saw didn't happen until the endpoint, because when you build a program, like a C++ program, for example, when you build a C++ program, the first thing it does is it compiles all of you see all these CPP files, that's source code. That's what programmers actually write. So it takes all those CPP files and turns those into your binary. And then the binary is what you actually run. But there's actually a step that I'm kind of skipping. So when he takes the CPP files and turns them into a binary, and then what happens after that is it links all the library files that I told you about. All the library files where you got to put the code into the binary that you're creating. That's the linking process. And we were getting errors on the linking process, but now we're not. Yes! Yes. And it was just because I had forgotten the config. So here is the compiling step right there. Let me put that on my little note. Okay, perfect. Joe says that taxes are already under audit. Well, you know, when you just suddenly claim that you're making $15 million, like when you start making $15 million as like a YouTube streamer and then you pay like no taxes, yeah, they're going to audit you. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Joe. What is this? Let's just get this out. Okay. So we have our build steps. Okay, so let's just go ahead and update that little ticket we wrote. Where did it go? Did I close that? Where did it go? Joe, where is it? There it is. Okay, so here is the error. Proper build steps after cloning are as followed. Alright, so we can come down there, come down there. Now let's do this. Proper build steps ran from build directory are as follows. Okay. So that was one of the issues. And then actually, I guess now, that we've done this, we can actually close this issue. How do I close it? Close. Oh, close. Okay. Our ticket's done. We're done. Look at that. We had our first ticket and we've already closed it. Look at us, just killing it. And then the second issue that I had mentioned was, in order to run it, had to manually set the path. This is really just an environmental issue. A development environmental issue. In an actual release version, those DLL files that the program couldn't find, they would be packaged probably in the same folder as a .exe file, and that's going to be the first place the program looks for those .dll files. So I'm not even going to. I'll put a note here. I'll just put a note here. When building on Windows, make sure the .dll paths are in your path variable. Okay, and that's that. Perfect. I think we did good. I think we accomplished a lot today. I think we accomplished a lot of programming. We did so much programming. Anyway. Oh boy, what is this? What's going on here? Oh yeah. All right. Yep, just reading messages off screen. I know that's always good programming. That's always good for YouTube streaming. Streamers love it when you just write stuff off. But wait. Let's do one more test. So what we had, I want to try running it from the command line really quick, and then we'll go. So this was the path right here. Oh, wait, let me turn word wrap off. So what I could do, no. Okay, that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do set path equals, set path equals, I don't remember how to do this. I think this is how you do it on Windows. Okay, that's good. Now what we need is we need to find the exe file, which is right here. Okay. So we're just going to try running the exe file from the command line, right? You get what I'm going at. So let's actually just do this all within our little notepad. We got this. It's called geosketch.exe. We want to pass it the window size of, what was it, Joe? It was, let me scroll up, 1600 by 900. And then I need to give it the resource folder, which was, I think it's, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. Oh, wait, that is right. Okay, this. Dash resources. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's see what happens. You ready? You ready, boys? Okay. I mean, it's just kind of sitting there, which is actually, if it was an arrow, it would probably arrow out quickly. Okay. I would expect it to do something by now. Okay, there it goes.
Dogfinger Studios.
I don't know what happened to the audio. Is the audio working? Is it just my audio that's not working? Do I have any audio? Let me look. I was going to play like 3 seconds of a song. No, I don't have any audio. Hopefully I am audible. Yeah, I'm audible. I don't know why suddenly I don't have any desktop audio. That's weird. I'll have to look at that next time. But I think with that, we can call it a day. I think we've made a lot of great progress. I think we've learned a lot of things. I think it's been a wonderful day. I have to go downstairs. I still have to... Oh, wait, what is this? Be back soon. The table pulled away at force light. I hear Dogfinger Studios and music and you. But that's weird. I can't hear audio anymore. Did I change the audio? Oh. Oh, I had my system on mute. Okay. Let me just do that. Let me do that. Yeah. I literally had my computer on mute. Let me just try this one more time, just for my own sanity, just so I know it works. I mean, I trust you, Joe, but I just want to. You know how, like, you know, when you go up to an elevator. Oh God. You know. Oh God. You know how, like, when you go to an okay. You go up to an elevator, right? And then what's happening? You go up to an elevator and you see the person before you has already pushed the button. You can witness it right in front of your face that they have pushed the button. And you can even see the little light that is on. You see the little light that indicates that the button has been pushed. Well, what do you do when you get to the elevator? What do? You push the button. Even with all of that, you still push the button.
Dog Finger Studios.
There we go. All right, cool. So this is the game. This is the game. You know, Joe, if you want to help out, there's some Perl programming you could do, or not Perl. What is that? PHP. You know, if you want to, take up some programming, actually, pretty cool project. I was fooling with it last night a little bit, but if you want to, you can get the borders of countries in a KML format. There's other formats too, and basically all they are is coordinates. They're longitudinal and latitudinal coordinates. So I need a script that will take those longitudinal that will take those coordinates and convert them to like a grid coordinates, like 0, as opposed to negative 17.2185 comma 9.76543. I need to do some linear algebra and convert those to like 0-0, or 10, 3, or whatever it is. So basically that I know how to draw the map, or know what to look for. You're going to need the map data in this game. Anyway, I think we've made a lot of great progress, though. I am not only inspired. I'm just going to put this stuff here. Let's see. Just want to replace that. No, what? Oh, all right. Anyway, I'll do that later. I'm not only inspired, but I am grateful. I am happy, and I am looking forward to killing it in this game. So thanks, everybody. Be sure to do your taxes. They're due tomorrow, and I will probably be back streaming. I just wanted to get on today just to kind of, just hadn't spoken to anybody in a while on here. But have a great day. Check out my channel. I think there was a new video that came out today. Oh, okay. There is one more thing I wanted to do, because one of the things that I've been struggling with about my channel is, like, I used to like editing the videos, but now I'm starting to really not like editing the videos. So I hired somebody on Fiverr, and it wasn't exactly $5. Let me see if I can get in. But I hired somebody on Fiverr to see if they would I'll do it another time. But to see about editing my videos, and I sent him like 20 minutes of raw footage, and he said he would have the video for me today. So I'm going to go look at that soon now. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out, because I still have this is the last video from my trip I took in December. So I still have the trip in January to India, and in February to Finland, and then I was in Bolivia. I did a walk and talk in Bolivia. That was it. But then I've got trips coming up. Anyway, be sure to check that out, and have a great day. And I will see you again tomorrow, and we'll actually play City Skylines tomorrow. All right, bye everybody.